Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name's Zoe. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn on that bell so you're notified every single time that I post. And if you're a current subscriber, please make sure that your bell is on, as YouTube doesn't suggest true crime content. So today I'm just going to get straight into this video because I usually do talk for too much at the beginning. Today we are discussing the kidnapping of Jayme Closs. Jayme Closs was born on the 13th of July 2005 and she had a really normal childhood. Her parents were James and Denise Closs and they all lived together in Wisconsin, USA. Her parents both worked together in a cheese factory, and it was actually here that they both met and then got together 2 years before having Jayme. Jayme was an only child who enjoyed sports, dancing, and she was very family orientated. Her father James was a very sporty person himself. He enjoyed playing sports and watching sports, so this in itself is probably what influenced Jayme to be such a sporty person herself. Jayme was more close to her mother, which most teenage girls are. She looked up to her mother like an inspirational figure. She really adored her mum like any normal girl would, but she really wanted to grow up to be her mum. She wanted to be caring like her mum, she wanted to be kind, she just wanted to be everything that her mother was. Jayme's mother Denise enjoyed gardening and nature, and these were her passions. They were a typical family, they were family orientated, the setup was just pretty normal. But little did everybody know that this would all change for Jayme when she was 13 years old. In the early hours of the 15th of October 2018, Jayme was woken by her dog because her dog was reacting to a car pulling on the driveway. She looked out of the window and noticed a man dressed all in black making his way to the Closs family home. So she decided to run and go and wake up her parents. Her father James noticed that the man had a gun, so he sent Denise and Jayme straight up to the bathroom, told them to lock the door and stay inside. And whilst they were doing this, James went downstairs to go and investigate. Whilst in the bathroom, Denise and Jayme jumped in the bath, they pulled the shower curtain round and they stayed cuddled together. When James had first gone downstairs, he assumed that the man was maybe law enforcement, so he asked the man to show him a badge. The man said nothing, he just lifted his gun and shot James in the head, and this killed him instantly. He continued to shoot the door to gain entry, and once he did, he searched all the rooms in the house until he got to the bathroom. The attacker used his full body weight to slam through the door, and whilst this was happening, Denise was frantically trying to call 911, but she couldn't say anything because by the time she got connected, he had burst through the door. The attacker ripped down the curtain and ordered Denise to end the phone call. Denise was cuddling and huddling Jayme so tight. They had heard the gunshot go off downstairs, so they knew something had happened to James. They didn't know whether he was dead or injured. They just knew that their attacker wouldn't hold off. The attacker had told Denise to cover Jayme's mouth with duct tape, so Denise was shaking and panicking and she physically couldn't do it, so the attacker snatched the duct tape back and did it himself, also tying Jayme's hands and feet together. The attacker then shot the gun again, killing Denise instantly. Jayme was hysterical. She was kicking and screaming. She had just witnessed her parents being murdered and she was sure that she would be next. But the attacker dragged Jayme out from the house to his car and put her in the boot. Once he shoved Jayme into the boot, he then sped away. When they were speeding away, they'd actually passed 3 police cars that were heading to the Closs family home. Had the police been around 4 minutes earlier, they would actually have caught the attacker in the act. When police received the 911 call at 12:53 AM, they couldn't hear anything on this phone call apart from commotion. But then the call just ended. They did try to call Denise back, but there was no answer. The call handler knew something was wrong, so she decided to put the call through to the police and send some officers out there. When police officers arrived at the home, they found the bodies of James Closs and Denise Closs. They knew from witness reports and neighbours that there was a young girl living there, so they instantly became worried about this young girl. so they decided to put out an amber warning and started searching immediately. Little did police know that Jayme had actually been kidnapped by her parents' killer, Jake Patterson. Jake Patterson was born on the 17th of June in 1997. We don't know very much about his childhood, but we do know that when he left school he joined the US Marines. A few weeks after joining the Marines, he was actually kicked out, and since then he's been unable to hold a job down. He was in and out of work and he just couldn't live stably. James had started to work at the cheese factory, working alongside James and Denise Kloss. Jake had weird fantasies and obsessions, and one of them was actually kidnap. Jake had actually seen Jayme getting off the school bus one day, and in his own words he said that he knew Jayme was the one to take. He had tried 3 times to kidnap Jayme, one of them times being successful. The first time he got disturbed by activity in the home, and same with the second. So the third time he decided to take a weapon, so he would know that if he was disturbed he wouldn't be leaving behind any witnesses. Once fleeing the home with Jayme in his boot, he drove 60 miles away and took her to a cabin in a rural area. This cabin was owned by his father, but the whole family had moved out of it, so it was sort of the perfect place to hold someone captive. He made Jayme strip off all her clothes. He then burnt them and made her wear his sister's pyjamas. She was to stay in the cabin at all times, but she was absolutely terrified, so it was quite obvious that Jayme was going nowhere. Jake would force her to lie under the bed when family members came round, and she was not to come out from under that bed. She was not to make a sound. She was not to basically let anybody know that she was under there. She couldn't even use the toilet, and she would lie there for hours. But she was so terrified that she didn't move. Jake actually put weights at the side of Jayme, so he would know if she moved, and if she did try to move it would make some sort of noise, so he would be alerted. He wouldn't feed her no matter how hungry she was, and no matter how much she needed the toilet, she just couldn't move. Jake had beaten her up one time because he had assumed that the weights had moved, when in fact Jayme hadn't moved them. But he was so worried about her trying to escape. He had witnessed Jake kill her parents, and she knew what he was capable of. So this in itself made her believe him when he said that bad things would happen to her if she tried to escape. Whilst Jayme was missing, family and the community were in total shock and devastation. They couldn't believe that this happened in their town, and such a lovely family had just literally been torn apart. Everybody was out there looking for Jayme, but despite this there was still speculation. Some people actually believed that Jayme could have done this to her own parents. People were speculating that she got herself in trouble or she had a secret boyfriend, so she did this to her parents so she could run away and start a new life. The police looked into this straight away and they ruled it out straight away. They just knew that Jayme was in danger and she needed to be found. Massive searches were conducted and thousands of police officers and volunteers all came together to go out searching for Jayme. They even sent therapists and comfort dogs into local schools as other children were really affected by Jayme's kidnapping. Police had received thousands of tips and were looking into every single one of them. Jayme's face was on billboards, it was highly publicised, it was all over social media, and that's how I myself found out about this case at the time, was through social media and Twitter. Literally everybody was trying their best to find Jayme. A week after the double murders and kidnapping, police received some information that they were looking for 2 cars. Now I've got a description of the cars here which I'm going to read straight from my notes. They were looking for a 2008 to 2014 Dodge Challenger that was red or orange in colour, and the second vehicle was either a 2006 to 2010 black Ford Edge or a 2004 to 2010 Acura MDX. They also said how there was a $25,000 reward for any information that leads to finding Jayme. On the 27th of October, police made an arrest. A man had tried to break into the Kloss family home, and this instantly caused suspicion. Why would someone try to break in a home that was being so focused on by police? Police set up motion cameras and spotted the man trying to break in, so they went and apprehended this man straight away. And when they were searching him, they actually found children's underwear in his pockets. The man was actually later identified as 32-year-old Carl Jayme. When being interviewed, he said he was on his way home from work and he just randomly decided to burgle the Kloss family home, not thinking about the police presence. And when they later asked him about why he had the children's underwear and whose it was, he confirmed that they were Jayme's underwear, and he just wanted to know what size Jayme was, which in itself is really creepy. Carl was charged with burglary, and it was established that he had no involvement in the Kloss family case. Despite the leads and massive searches in this case, unfortunately it just went cold. They didn't find any information, they had no real leads that they could go on. As the months went on, everybody was getting more and more concerned for Jayme. Police decided to cut the force that was actually out searching for Jayme in half. They said that they would be more beneficial elsewhere, and things were just starting to really slow down around this case. Her family organised a Tree of Hope lighting and literally hundreds of people attended. People were really concerned for Jayme and just wanted her home, and they wanted to show their sort of respects around the situation. On the 10th of January 2019, Jean Nutter was out in Gordon, Wisconsin, walking her dog. At 4:10 p.m. she was approached by a thin, distressed and quite dirty girl. The girl was wearing a sweatshirt, leggings and tennis shoes that were on the wrong feet. She had told Jean that she was Jayme Kloss. Jean immediately took Jayme to her neighbour's house and called 911. Jean's neighbour actually described it like seeing a ghost. He had said that he had seen Jayme's picture all over the billboards and in the news, and to see her standing there was very surreal. Jean actually told her neighbour to get a gun and stay armed, as they didn't know where this attacker was or how far beyond Jayme he actually was. Once the police were called, Jayme named her attacker as Jake Patterson. But then after that she really didn't say anything else. She was very quiet, she was in shock, and of course she has just been through one of the worst ordeals that anybody can go through. So it's not surprising that she was so quiet. That morning, Jacob planned to go out, so he put Jayme under the bed, blocked her in with the weights and left. And not long after, Jayme had actually pushed the weights away from her and fled the home. She ran as fast as she could. She didn't know where Jake was or how long he would be or if he was going to catch her. She just ran. Jake had actually got home and realised that Jayme was gone. It was really cut and go, and he was literally minutes behind her. She had given the officers a full description of the attacker, Jake Patterson, and his car. And Jake Patterson actually happened to drive past the cabin where the police and Jayme were, so police were able to apprehend him straight away. And he literally just stepped out the car and said, "I did it." Jayme was taken to hospital for treatment, and given everything that she'd been through the past 88 days, she came away from the whole situation quite unscathed. The house where Jayme was held captive was searched, and they collected all the evidence that they needed. They also said they were not looking for any other suspects and there were no other victims. Once Jayme was given the all clear from the hospital, she was released into the care of her auntie, and her family and friends were overjoyed that Jayme was home. They couldn't quite believe it. The police decided to give the $25,000 reward to Jayme, as she did rescue herself. Jake Patterson was charged with 2 accounts of first-degree murder. He was also charged with kidnapping and armed burglary. On the 27th of March this year, Jake Patterson pleaded guilty to the charges of murder and kidnap. On the 24th of May this year, Jake Patterson was actually convicted and sentenced to 2 life sentences without the chance of parole, and also 40 years for the kidnap of Jayme Kloss. Local authorities didn't want to pursue any charges for what happened during the 88 days. This would have meant that Jayme would have had to stand up in court and face her attacker, and it's not something that they wanted to put Jayme through. they deemed it unnecessary as they had enough evidence to ensure that he was never getting out of prison. In June 2019, Jake signed the Child Sex Offenders Register and was also put on suicide watch as authorities believed that he was a danger to himself. So Jayme had written a statement to be read out in court, and I can't read the full thing because it is very long, but I do want to talk about a couple of bits. Now again, I will be reading this straight from my notes, so I do apologise, but I don't really want to get any of the words wrong. It's such an important, powerful message. Last October, Jake Patterson took a lot of things that I loved away from me. It makes me the most sad that he took away my mum and dad. I loved my mum and dad very much, and they loved me very much. They did all they could to make me happy and protect me. He took them away from me forever. I felt safe in my own home, and I loved my room and all my belongings. He took that too. Now this bit of the statement personally makes me feel very sad. She was a 13-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her. Her home was her safe haven, and he took that away from her, and most importantly, he took her parents. And despite Jayme being such a strong girl, this is something that will affect her, obviously, for the rest of her life. She later goes on to say in this statement, "But there are some things that Jake Patterson can never take away from me. He can't take my freedom. He thought that he could own me, but he was wrong. I was smarter. I watched his routine. I took back my freedom. I will always have my freedom, and he will not. Jake Patterson can never take away my courage. He thought he could control me, but he can't. I feel like what he did is what a coward would do. I was brave, he was not. Jake Patterson will never have any power over me. I feel like I have some power over him because I get to tell the judge what I think should happen to him. He stole my parents from me. He stole almost everything I love from me. For 88 days he tried to steal me, and he didn't care who he hurt or who he killed to do that." Again, like I said, Jayme was a very strong girl, and I couldn't imagine myself going through what she did at 13 years old. I don't know much about what happened to Jayme after the trial. It has only been a few short months, but I am sure she is loved and she is getting the help and support she needs. After such a traumatic time, she's with her family. I'm sure she will grow into a strong, independent woman and let nothing or nobody get in her way. And I do truly send my love and my prayers to Jayme and her family. So that is all for today's video. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button because that is a free way that you can help your girl out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell, and I shall see you in my next true crime video. Bye.